Hello, welcome aboard. It's Walter here. Glad to have you here. And what we're talking about right now is we're talking about the old trading goals, what your trading goals are and how to achieve them. So this is going to be fun, actually. So I think one thing that I want to point out when we talk about trading goals is it's interesting as traders how the most important influences, the things that impact our trading the most, we often don't plan for or we don't really consider as much as we should. And so that's what this video is about. It's about sharing with you how to plan out your trading so that you don't end up, as most traders do, either not making money or simply quitting, right? I mean, the reason why we see broker ads everywhere we go on the internet, I don't know about you, but everywhere I go on the internet, I see broker ads. Why do I see broker ads? Because they need fresh blood. That's it. They need fresh blood. They need new traders because they know that their traders will burn out and they will quit. And I'll talk about why they quit, how you can use simple math and some tools that I'll give you below this video to improve the way that you approach your trading. So instead of going, and saying, I just want to make money or I just want to quit my job or whatever, what we want to do is plan out our trading so that we're able to avoid the things that will sink us and achieve the things that we want, right? So if that sounds good, that's what we're going to do right now, okay? So let's talk about trading goals and what you can do to achieve them and what you can do so that you avoid kind of the worst case scenario. Now, I don't know if you have kids or not. I've got little kids, and whenever we go out, out of the house, basically, out of the compound, it takes some planning, right? I've got to have extra underwear and socks, and then probably a whole new outfit for the kiddies in case they get wet or jump in puddles or we have an accident in their underwear or whatever, right? We need water bottles, toys, all this gear has to come with us every time we leave the house. You got to plan ahead. And it reminds me of a time that I had with my wife before we got married. We went on a hike in Tasmania. Now, I don't know if you know anything about Tasmania. It's beautiful, right? It's like the West Virginia of Australia. Lots of trees and mountains and lakes and fresh seafood and all that stuff. I guess West Virginia doesn't have fresh seafood. But anyway, I think it's a close comparison. And we were going to go on this hike. We were going to go to this beautiful beach and then hike over this mountain. And down the other side, it was kind of secluded and hang out there for 3, 4, 5 days. And then it was actually a bit of a celebration because I had a really good trading month. So I said, hey, we should go out and do something fun. So that's what we were going to do. And we planned ahead, right? And the guys at the mountaineering shop or whatever you call it, the outdoor shop, they would have seen us coming a mile away. We had to get new hiking gear, light clothing, a tent, sleeping bags. We had to carry our water in because there wasn't any drinkable water where we were going. There was water, but you couldn't really drink it. And you had to plan your hike a certain way. Like in Tasmania, they have this really bad fungus or moss or something. So if you go trekking, you can collect it on your boots. And then if you bring it to another area of Tasmania where they don't have that fungus or that moss or whatever, it will kill the trees. So they tell all the hikers, you have to actually hike one way when you go around Tasmania. Can't go the other way because you could bring the bad, I don't know what it is. It's like a moss or a bacteria or something down to where the other trees are and kill them. So, there's a lot of planning involved, right? And so first night we get there, we stay on this beautiful beach. I don't even think it's a famous beach. I don't think you're actually allowed to stay there. But we stayed there that night, camped out on the beach. Next day we were ready to go. We saw it was really cool. It was beautiful. There was actually a bunch of whale bones on this one beach, and we hiked up the mountain. It got really foggy. Couldn't see where we were going. It was really hard to stay on the trail. Finally made it down the other side, and the weather really turned. Got really bad. We pitched our tent, found a place and we thought we were going to be there for like 4 days, right? And it was raining, it was windy, the wind was tearing into the tent started leaking, and my wife was like, I can't do this. I want to pull the pin. And we literally just pitched our tent and been there like an hour. I'm like, okay, well, we'll try and stick it out tonight because we can't go now. It's too late. It would be dark and we wouldn't make it back. So we'll go early in the morning, we'll go back. But we didn't know what we were going to do. Once we hiked back over the mountain the other way, carrying the water and all that. Water's heavy. If you've ever done it, water's pretty heavy to carry, especially when you're carrying 5 days worth of water. So we got to the other side, and we're like walking down this road where all you ever see down there was just tourist bus would come through, right? And they would come through to see the kangaroos and the trees and the beaches and all that. And so we're like, well, what are we going to do? And oh yeah, I remember when we were dropped off here, a cab driver came and dropped us off. This was before Uber, right? The cab driver just dropped us off and said, good luck. So we're walking, and I said, oh yeah, there was a resort up there. Maybe we can get in at that resort. So I walked to the resort. I'm all dusty and dirty. You know, I look like a vagabond bum. And I say to the guy, do you have any rooms? And he kind of looks me up and down and goes, yeah. And so I signed the paperwork, give him the credit card, you know, do all this stuff, because it was a really nice place. And he asked me 5 times, I'll never forget. He asked me 5 times what my registration, my license plate was for my car. I was like, we didn't drive, you know. I'm like, nope, we didn't drive. How did you get here? We hiked in. And he didn't believe me. He looked at me like, huh? And so we got the room. We put our tent on the balcony, started the fire. There was a fireplace. You know, we had our tent on the balcony, getting the sand out of it and everything. It was really funny. And then we signed up for like a tour where they put you, the resort had a boat, and they would take you out on the boat, and you'd get oysters and stuff. And it was beautiful. It was great. And ever since then, my wife and I have always said, we've always laughed. We said, we're not backpackers, we're flash packers. We've decided, even if we go traveling with a backpack, we're going to go and stay at a nice place. We just are resigned to that. We're not going to rough it like we tried that one time. And so the reason I bring this story up is because this is what you have to do with your trading. You have to know, as a trader, who are you and what are you trying to do? What are you trying to achieve? What are your goals, right? That's really what this comes down to. So let me share with you what this is how I go about it, right? So depending on the trading account that I'm trading, how am I going to try and achieve my trading goals? And what do I need to look out for? It's a pretty simple process, actually. And I'll share these tools with you. Oh, and before I forget, if this is the kind of stuff that you like, you want to like watch over my shoulder as we do this together, there's a course coming up called Small Account Big Profits, and you can click the link below this video and get more information about that course. We're starting that in a couple of days. We're going to take a small account and we're going to accelerate it quickly. And we're looking to take $1,000 account up to 100 grand, basically within about 300 trades. That's what we're going to do. So let me show you how you do this. So first of all, you need to know what your numbers are, right? And so you get these numbers from Forex Tester or from any sort of back test software that you use, right? So let's say, for example, I'll start with $1,000 account here because this is what I've been talking about. So I'll go $1,000 here, right? And let's say that I've got a 37% win rate, right? And let's say that I've got a 3-to-1 reward to risk ratio. So that's what that is. And I have 10% of my trades are break-even trades. And I'm going to risk, let's say I'm going to get really aggressive. I'm not going to go with the 2% or the 1% that every trading book tells me to do. I'm going to go with 3%, right? So what this is doing here is this spreadsheet is randomly assigning wins and losses, and it's saying what's going to happen to this $1,000 account if I'm risking 3% per trade over time, right? Over time. So so if I scroll down here after 1,000 trades, you'll see my account grows to something extraordinary, like, I don't even know what that number is. It's like, is that 303? Is that 303 billion or something? I don't know. Doesn't really matter after 1,000 trades, basically, right? But I can say, well, what would happen after 300 trades? Where would I be? And it's not going to be 100,000, is it? After 300 trades, it's 214,000 in this instance. Now, what you need to do, though, is run many of these so you get kind of like a mean or an average. What you want to know is what's the worst case scenario and the best case scenario, and then what's the middle. So what you got to run lots of these, like hundreds of them. And so the way that you do this, the best way I know of, is I go to this webpage called random.org, and I take I click on the integer generator, okay? So the integer generator looks like this. I want 1,000 integers. 1,000 integers. You can see I've done this before. between 1 and 100, and I want it in one column, okay? And then I go, boom. You can see I've done this before. So then what I do is I select all of these numbers here like this, boom, and I paste it into my spreadsheet. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get a different result for the same system, like this. Copy. All right, so this is outcome 1, where you can see after 300 trades, I'm at 214,000. What about outcome 2? Well, outcome 2 will do the same thing. I'll start with $1,000. I'll have a 37% win rate. I'll use a 3-to-1 reward to risk ratio. I'll have a 10% scratch or break even. 10% of my trades are break even trades. And I'm going to risk 3% per trade, right? And so now what I want to do is I want to get a different result. So I'm just going to paste in the numbers that I just copied from that random.org page, right? And now if I scroll down, what I'll see is what happens after 300 trades, right? So again, we're only starting with $1,000 here, and after 300 trades, in this case, it is it better or worse? Oh, it's slightly better actually. In this case, we're at $374,180 after 300 trades, right? And what you can do is you can scroll down here and you can see like I like to get charts like what happens after the first 85 trades. Obviously, once you get if your account gets over, say, like 10 million, you're not really trading retail anymore, right? You probably wouldn't even trade retail at 3 million. But so what happens there is I don't really pay attention to this last part of it because that's you'll be trading very low leverage there if you go to the interbank market. It'll be a different story altogether. Okay, so now, so this is the first 85 trades right here. As you can see what happens there. Now I can do another outcome here and so forth, and I get a bunch of these. But that's just one part of the equation. This is my goal. My goal is to take this 37% win rate strategy with my $1,000 account with a 3% risk per trade using fixed fractional. There's 3-to-1 and a 10% break even rate. See how far I can take that after 300 trades, right? That's basically what that's showing. And so here's another example here on this one. Again, we go down to 300 trades and it says we are at very different result here, isn't it? Look at this. It's only at 52,000. That's a big difference from outcome 2. So that's probably going to be one of the worst outcomes, right? So that's why you do this. You do it lots of times. Do it like 300 times, 500 times, and you want to get an average. Now, so that's the first part. The second part is, what sort of drawdown am I willing to tolerate, right? So, and that's really important. And the way that I do that is with the risk calculator. You can get that at fxjake.com/risk. And so I have to go in here and I go, okay, I'm going to have a 37% win rate. I'm going to have a 3-to-1 reward to risk ratio, right? And I'm going to risk 3% per trade. And I want to know what my risk of drawdown. Let's say I don't want to have a 35% drawdown, right? So going into our hike, my wife and I should have said, what we didn't, but what we should have said is what would stop us from going through with our adventure? Would it be pissing rain in a hole in our tent and unable to sleep because the tent's getting whipped around by the wind? That's kind of, so here you go. 3%, 3-to-1 reward risk ratio, 37. So what's going to happen over the next 10,000 trades? Will I hit a drawdown of 35%? And the answer is yes, sir, you will, right? That's what that's telling me. Now, so I have to decide here. Am I willing to put up with a severe drawdown? What is it going to be, a 55% drawdown? Chances are 4 out of 10, about 40% chance of having a 55% drawdown. Am I going to have a 70% drawdown? This might be like a 10% chance or something. Oh no. So there you go. So that's basically what I've decided. I've said, well, if I really want to take this small $1,000 account and ramp it up quickly using this strategy, I have to be willing to withstand probably about a 65% drawdown, 70% drawdown max to do that. And so going into it, I know, okay, this is what I have to do. Most traders don't do that. What happens is they haven't decided going into it. They decide they want to make a lot of money, and they may have even projected profits like we talked about here, which, by the way, this is all projection. We don't know what's going to happen in the future, right? But as soon as we get into the drawdown, that's what dictates our success and whether we quit or not. It's not how close we are to our goal. It's how bad it gets when things get really bad. And so that's why I wanted to share both of these tools with you. And again, if you're interested in this stuff, you may want to join us in the small account big profits course, which is coming up. You can go to fxjake.com/big and get more information about that. So that's what we have here for you guys. That's how to basically try to see how likely your goal is to be achieved. And I like to look at number of trades, and then also how likely you already hit your catastrophic drawdown level, which is going to be dependent on how your risk rules are set up. So that's basically it. Thanks for your time, guys. I wish you very happy trading, and I hope to see you soon. See ya. Bye.